What up and welcome to the Golden Era, the NBA regular season. 9 games left in it. We had a very entertaining month of March. We will have a chaotic sprint to the finish line. Let's see what the Warriors did over the last 14 games. Run the highlights. Warriors-Wizards, the lowly Wiz coming to town, and this one not all that competitive. Warriors on top late here. Damian Pack gets a jumper to go. It was a big night from Damian Pack. He ends this one with 26, a double-double from Deonte Dixon, and a double-double from Russell Kingston gets the Warriors a 131-107 over the Wiz. Just 14 wins on the year for Washington. NBA Finals rematch, Warriors-Bulls. The Bulls in town. Dakota Motley gets the triple to go on this one. 6-point game. Couple minutes later, 4-point game, but Dakota Motley is not one to be stopped, especially by Lynn Gardner. Spinning around home for the bucket. Warriors down by 7, trying to mount a comeback. Lynn Gardner says, "You score on me, I'll score on you." Triple, buries it, quartet of a game. Wayne Jeffries then is going to drive to the rack, get the foul, get the bucket. 1-point game. Let's move ahead. 1:30 to go. Russell Kingston in the paint. Javon Stokes. Good defense, pushing in transition for better offense. The triple, and the Bulls get the 4-point win. Warriors Hornets in Charlotte. Used to be a pretty decent matchup when Steph Curry was playing for the Warriors. Not anymore, but Javon Roll still is. Triple there, cuts the lead down to 3. 5-point game here. Deonte Taylor pull-up triple from the feed, and it's a 2-point game at that point. Fast forward, 3-point game. Shane Ruffin going to work on Deonte Taylor and his former team off the glass for a 5-point game. That's our score here still. Javon Roll to the rack. Robert Mack, other ideas. Then in transition, it's Jonathan Malheur finding Jonathan Shays, and a triple, in the Hornets threatening to pull away 8-point affair. Deonte Dixon trying to mount the comeback, takes 3 out of the wins, and it's a 5-point game. That will be as close as they get, because a Mac big night, 29 points, enough for the Hornets in the win. Will the Warriors get back on track, though? Easy? No. Cleveland with the win, 119-106, and the Warrior losing streak continues. Can they get it back against the New York Knicks squad that they are trying to turn away? You betcha. This one not really close at any point. Remember, this is the Knicks team that beat the Warriors, that ended the Warriors at the time 17-game winning streak. 57 points from a hapless New York Knicks squad and Deonte Dixon. Warriors Magic. 2 times these two teams met in the NBA Finals. The Warriors getting both of them. Things not going their way here. Trying to mount a comeback is Deonte Dixon. That dunk makes it an 11-point game. There's hope. Jair Dooling says not anymore. Slam and damming, and that's pretty much all that she would write. 113-104, Orlando with the win. Playing without Trey Hunter, doesn't matter, from Jair Dooling. Warriors and the Sonics, rematch from last year's conference semifinals, and the Warriors took the series in 6 games. Corner pocket 3 from Javon Roll gives the Warriors a brief 2-point lead with 4.5 to go. Inside, though, that lead not going to last too long. Sonics doing all their work here. Missed there by Alshon Webb, and the Warriors pushing in transition. Try to find 2 points. Javon Roll says, "I like 3 better." Pull-up triple in transition. The Warriors are on top. Lead down to just 1 here with under 2 to go. Javon Roll, screen, up, oop, Dixon, the finish. Warriors now on top by 4. Trying to ice this thing away. Things getting dicey. Turnover. Here comes Donnell Everett inside to Alexander Sangalia, and the Sonics are within 2. Under 10 to go. Alshon Webb, the push out, the kick out. Sangalia buries it, and the Sonics trail by 12 in this one, have a chance to steal. The poor defense and Deonte Dixon with a little flair, and the Warriors get it done. 114-113. Late layup by Dixon, enough for the win. They'll follow that up with a win over a surging, healthy, but not necessarily winning Clipper squad, 131-114. Warriors-Wolves, another rematch for you. This one early on, not really close. Triple there from Javon Roll makes it a 15-point game. The Wolves have cut it down at this point to 9. Deonte Dixon, the step back, makes it double figures. Golden State kept the Wolves at bay for pretty much all of this. Lead up to 12 here in the third quarter. Minnesota trying to find a little bit of a spark. Malcolm Knight on the floor trying to do it. Good defense here by the Golden State Warriors. Can't really find much of an option. They kick out, spin it over. Nothing being found. Here comes Malcolm Knight to the paint. Not going to get it done because a shot is blocked by Deonte Dixon. And then in transition, the two-handed slam, 14-point game. Not going exceptionally well at this point for Minnesota. They have lost a handful of games in a row as the Warriors get this one 116-102. A big night from the two MVP candidates. But it's going to get harder for the Wolves coming up. Nets, Sonics, Thunder, Sonics again for a team that is on a bit of a two-game skid, potentially more. Bucks, Warriors. Warriors on top here by 7 in the fourth quarter. Pull up Jimmy, falls in for Deonte Dixon, makes it 9. The Bucks have kind of been up and down a lot based off their injury. The in-and-out dribble there from Deonte Dixon, and Golden State pulls away late. 32 points from Dixon. A nice, efficient night from Kingston. 21 points, just one missed field goal. Let's head to the ATL. Warriors facing an Atlanta team that has not really been that good this season. 101-93, they trail, kick out. Javon Roll makes it a 5-point game after touching all parts of the rim. Plenty of game still to be played, but a triple there, and that's something that the Hawks did for much of the night. 21 for 42 from deep with a 121-110 Atlanta win. The Warriors take out their anger, though, against Dallas with a 132-92 victory over the Mavs. Warriors Celtics, Jalen Justice and Amari Swift coming to town. The Warriors gave up, I think it was 46 to Jalen Justice in Boston. Well, Golden State not having much of a better time, down by 6. The turnover force here, and then in transition, Deonte Dixon up and under. The Warriors down by 4. 90 seconds to go. Jalen Justice, though, cannot be stopped. Certainly not by Javon Roll in this one. 6-point game again. Warriors needing some push. That'll help. Deonte Dixon flexing on him. 3-point game. Javon Roll burying the triple, and with under 1 minute to go, we're tied at 128. Then the Warriors are going to take a lead with 30 seconds to go. But Jalen Justice, the shimmy, the fade, looking like a prime Kobe Bryant. One more look at this one on Jonte Taylor, leaves him behind for 2 points. Overtime we go, and the Warriors and the Celtics are not going to stop trading blows. Amari Swift, the first one to go. Deonte Dixon leave and Tyrell Kemp in the air, and we're tied up once again. Corner 3, this time it's Jay Kingston, the former Laker, burying the triple. And the Warriors are down by 3, and then, of course, they're not, because Javon Roll is going to bury home a triple of his own. The pendulum continuing to swing. This time it's Tyrell Kemp finding the bottom of the bucket. 140-138, 90 seconds to go, and Deonte Dixon says, let's lock this thing up one more time. Some free throws, a turnover. Javon Roll right to Amari Swift, who finds Xavier Carter in transition. It's a 3-point game with 45 seconds to go. Celtics hold on from there, 147-142 in overtime. Warriors then more fun against the Clips, 109-86 to round things out. All right, let's start with the MVP race. And I have to say, I don't know how at this point that the MVP can go to Abiz Ojale. All right, not only have the Wolves been struggling losers, they lost 5 of 6. They just beat a pretty bad team. I think it was New Orleans. But they lost 5 games to serious championship contenders, right? The Sonics twice, the Nets, the Warriors, and then the Spurs. And you can take your take on who the Spurs are at their seeding. But if you're looking at Abiz Ojale, who in the month of March had his worst scoring numbers, he shot under 50% for the first time, 25 points somewhere around there, 25, 26. And then the Wolves are playing bad. I don't know how you're an MVP voter and you look at him and say, this team is headed for the play-in. They're a half game behind Sacramento. They're currently in 7. There's a very real chance they don't even make the playoffs. I mean, they could lose twice and be done, and that's going to be who our MVP is. I don't think it can be him. So that, in my opinion, puts it between Darnell Gist and Golden State's Deonte Dixon. Now, Houston, Darnell Gist is the best player on the best team in the Western Conference. for now. Seattle has pulled in with a half a game. Golden State is surging. They're 5 games back. I don't think with 8 games left they're going to catch them. Obviously, that's borderline impossible. However, the wins argument is starting to elude Darnell Gist. And otherwise, those two guys, Gist and Dixon, are very comparable. However, Deonte Dixon in the month of March is averaging more than 31 points per game. He's shooting 62% from the floor, and he's shooting 53% from deep. It's his second straight month shooting better than 50% from deep. Meanwhile, Darnell Gist, his lowest scoring number of any month this season, 51% from the floor and 31% from deep. So Deonte Dixon is shooting better from deep than both Gist and Ogilvy is shooting from the floor. Golden State is winning. Minnesota is not. The Rockets are, but on about the same pace as Golden State is. I don't know how you're an MVP voter right now and you look at it and say, yes, it can go to Abiz Ogilvy. One, because his numbers are bad. As of late, he's been fading. He had a good head-to-head matchup against Golden State. He had 30 points and 14 boards. Dixon was better. 33 points, 12 of 18 shooting. The Golden State Warriors won. If you look at those three, if I had a vote, I'm putting it towards Deonte Dixon. Call me a homer, that's fine, but I just don't see how you can look at two guys with Gist and Ogilvy whose teams aren't winning as much, or their teams are, their individual performance, I should say, is fading down the stretch at a moment when Deonte Dixon is carrying it. And I would argue the Warriors roster among those three teams is not the best of the three of them, but they've got the guy that's right now playing at his peak over the last month and change. Speaking of the Warriors, let's look at what they could be up against. And I think there's one thing that Golden State has to focus on when it comes to the playoffs: avoiding Phoenix. When you look at the teams in the top 8 that Golden State has played, obviously them not included, there are 2 teams that they have not fared well against. One is Phoenix. They're 0-3. They got one more matchup against them. And then they've lost the season series to the Los Angeles Lakers 3-1. Those are matchups that do not favor Golden State. Right now, Golden State 3rd, Phoenix 4. They need to make sure that they are on the opposite side of the bracket as the Suns. Whether that's Phoenix is 3, you're 4. Whether that's you're 5 and Phoenix is 3, whatever. They just cannot be on the same side because they do not match up well against the Suns. The size, we've talked about this, the size, the scoring, you cannot hide Javon Roll anywhere. That is what the challenge for Golden State is on the defensive side of the ball. They just do not have the number of stoppers and size that Phoenix does. Now, Phoenix has other teams that they don't match up quite as well against that Golden State has fared well with. You look, they got 2 teams left that the season series is undecided. That's Seattle, which is 1-1. We've got one more matchup with them, Golden State does. And then with the Houston Rockets, who is also 1-1. Javon Roll went for 53 points in a 30-point win, albeit one without Darnell Gist back in February, or I think it was late January. Your Golden State, you have to find a way to avoid playing on the same side of the bracket as the Phoenix Suns because it's just not a matchup that favors you. Every other team, I think the Golden State Warriors will look at and say, we are comfortable with this. Their perfect scenario, as we got 8 games left in the regular season, the perfect scenario would be Golden State at 3, Sacramento at 6. Golden State won that season series 4-0. If they can get that matchup there, I think that's going to be very favorable to the Warriors. You could see a Warriors-Wolves first-round matchup if they ended up at 3. I think that would. I would favor the Warriors in that one. Maybe not quite as heavily, but that would be a better one. You could run into Oklahoma City, who's been fading as of late in a 4-5. All of those are insignificant. You're not going to play Houston. You're not going to play Seattle. They probably feel decent about both of those matchups. We'll see how this last one for each of them kind of plays out, and maybe you shade in one way or another. But as it sits here today, the one team Golden State needs to avoid is Phoenix. We've talked about that many times. They also, I think, to a lesser degree, need to avoid the Los Angeles Lakers. I think they will, just being on the opposite side of that bracket. The only way that they would probably get them is if the Lakers get to 7. I don't think they can get up to 6, just considering the number of games left. But, of course, it's a possibility that they get there. But that's the big avoidance. One thing I want to shout out, I've talked about the Utah Jazz when it's been bad. We might as well talk about them when it's good. Utah, over their last 10 games, 8-2, 6th best defensive rating over the last month. So they're playing really, really good basketball as of now. They're finally healthy. All the moves that we talked about before are starting to come to fruition. Just got to shout that out. If we're going to talk about them when they're bad, we better talk about them when they're good. Shout out Utah, 8-2, pushing, trying to get into the 10th spot, but there's a very real chance they don't even make that as they battle with the Clippers and the Spurs for the 10th and final spot spot in the play-in, in the playoffs. A lot of questions could be coming down the pipe. All right, appreciate you tuning in. We're coming back next time. Finality to the regular season. Cannot wait. We'll talk to you then.